What's up, friend? In this video, we're going to talk about Helldivers 2 patch 01.000.100. That's right, this is called a minor patch, and I don't think it is. I think it's a lot more than that. What does this mean for us? Make sure you stick around to the end of this video. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button if you enjoy the content. There's some major updates with this one. We're looking at planetary hazards are active now. Many planets have now additional environmental challenges that will appear at random while you are deployed, from fire tornadoes to meteor showers and many more. Now, some balancing that came out with this update is eradicate missions. Eradicate missions now require more kills and enemies spawn more often. The time to complete the mission was previously shorter than intended and should now usually take twice as long to complete. I think this is fair too, just because a lot of people were farming this way by playing this mission and then leaving the overall mission and then just keep playing this one to get resources. This is why I say this is no minor patch, because they nerfed my baby. That's right, the railgun has decreased armor penetration in safe mode, decreasing damage against durable enemy parts. We see here the breaker has decreased magazine capacity from 16 to 13, increased coil from 30 to 55. A couple stratagems were also impacted. Energy shield backpacks now have increased delay before recharging. Also, we have the 380 and the 120 orbital barrages. They now have increased duration of the bombardment with decreased spread. Some fixes came with this update patch. We have fixed armor rating values, not reducing damage as intended. Fixed certain bug holes, including the stalker nests, which they stated were unnecessarily hard to destroy. I like the stalker nests. I think they add a lot of more difficulty, but my assumption is this means something different, especially if they say it's unnecessarily hard, so maybe just the way that they were designed. I will leave a link to this down below and anything else that I mentioned in this video. And once again, if you're enjoying this, make sure you smash that like button. I don't want to read all of these, but one that really got my attention is that the camera no longer locked on the player's own corpse in blocking spectator mode. This happened to me almost every single time that I died. It was just a couple times that I went in spectator mode and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. I can actually see what my teammates are actually doing. We have a lot more known issues that need to be fixed, but to be honest, Arrowhead Game Studios is doing a fantastic job with keeping this game updated and listening to the community. Now, with the balancing, a lot of gamers have expressed their concerns about nerfing, and I really want to talk about this. I came across a blog on Arrowhead's website here. Once again, I'll leave a link down in the description, but it states here that Patrick Lozada, that is the designer of the first Helldivers and is currently head product testing at Arrowhead, he states, "First, I'd like to speak to the general power of primary weapons. Many have commented that they aren't powerful enough and are unable to deal with all the enemies either by the amount of ammunition required or their raw DPS. This is very much intentional, and you need to rely on your stratagems and the stratagems of your team to deal with all the enemies effectively, either by Eagle airstrikes, orbitals, support weapons, or turrets. Some of your loadout and team should be tailored their loadout to killing the weaker stuff more efficiently. This doesn't mean that your primary weapon shouldn't feel good to use, but please understand that this is primarily only in the sense that it's something you will always spawn with." He continues, "I have since the game release seen so many say, don't nerf, only buff, and other similar ideas. However, as a designer, I can tell you this is not a good idea, but I understand where the sentiment comes from. All too often in the games industry, the core fantasy and what makes a weapon feel good and fun is ignored for the sake of balance. I believe players are scared of nerfs because it will ruin the fantasy of a weapon, ruin their fun. It is extra important to us to tread carefully so that we don't ruin fantasy and fun when we do nerfs. We hope you, our players, will tell us when we cross that line inadvertently." Now, once again, he does go into the breaker, the railgun, flamethrower, laser cannon, shield backpack, everything, like I said, that we mentioned here. And I like that he explains why these things have been nerfed and they have been changed. For example, like I mentioned with the railgun, he states the railgun is really intended to be a higher power anti-tank sniper rifle, requiring both timing with the unsafe firing mode and accuracy with where you hit the enemy. It was vastly overperforming in how safe it was to use and how convenient it was, not requiring a backpack or assistance to be effective, risk to take out even larger armored targets. To that end, we have changed it so that safe mode is capable of penetrating medium armor, such as automaton, scout walkers, but not more heavily armored enemies like chargers and bile titans. For those targets, you must now run it in unsafe mode and overcharge it. In addition, we reined in the railgun's ability to damage massive body parts, meaning to get any real efficiency out of it, you must score hits on heads and other weak points. Now, I will say I did feel a certain way, and I mentioned these things in my prior video, my concerns about the future for Helldivers 2 and the unknowns. But I gotta say, this update gives me a lot of hope, and I love that the developers are really strategically thinking about every change that they're making, and they're making sure that there's a why behind them, and also giving it to the community to provide that feedback to see how those changes are going. Arrowhead Game Studios definitely knows what they're doing. I still have small minor things that I would like to see, which is just additional missions, and I've mentioned these things before. What will really be awesome is when we do get the roadmap and we can see clearly what they plan to do. We've already gotten teasers in the past with mechs and getting mech armor and lots of things like that, so I'm really interested to see how that goes. I did not play the first Helldivers, so I really want to be clear on that, and I'm sure that there's many people that played that game for an extended amount of time and seen the progression, seen that game grow and get better and better and better. And let's see what they do with Helldivers 2. Make sure you click on the screen. That'll take you to more Helldivers videos or PS5 gameplays and reviews. I'll see you over there. Peace.